So yeah, Dave is a psychiatrist. He's a prescribing psychiatrist. He's probably the best person, if you have any questions right now, to definitely ask. So yeah, it's Dave.
Again, just to echo what everyone else has said, thank you all for coming. You know, this is really the start of something we hope will be inspiring for lots of people and to follow suit. Thanks to Jay for all you're doing as well, and you know, thank you to Joe and Matt at the Low Lounge. This is a stunning venue. I think, you know, we couldn't have got anywhere better. It's a real sort of place that we can, you know, set out on this great journey together. My journey with this started with my wife, Sam. That's who we set up the clinic together. And my experience with medical cannabis is through observing the benefits it's been to her. You know, she has been a medical cannabis user longer than it's been called medical cannabis. So, you know, when I first met her, she was, you know, a worldly traveller and had, you know, used it in many different ways. And it was only later on that we actually realised, you know, how beneficial it was for her medically. Now, I think my observation of her is a clinical observation. I think my wife, when we first got married, didn't realise in the small print of the marriage licence was actually consenting to a research study. Here we are, you know, 20 odd years later, and you know, she's been someone I can now study through the medical lens, and it's an observation, and that's where we start medicine. Medicine doesn't necessarily start with people in petri dishes and, you know, the genetics, although it can, and that's a wonderful way to start off with, you know, finding new treatments. But this is kind of old school medicine. This is where you make observations, you see what's going on in the world. And now, having spent 2.5 years in the medical cannabis field, I've met with hundreds, if not thousands, of patients. And what's really striking to me is that the brain's great at making connections. It just you start to see the stereotypes of the people coming through. You know, if I've got an 18-year-old coming through, they've probably got autism, they've probably got sensory overwhelm, cannabis helps with that. I know if I've got someone with PTSD coming through, they've got nightmares, cannabis helps with that. If someone's had a traumatic upbringing, they've got these traumatic memories which they need to get out of their heads to live their lives, cannabis helps with that. You know, people who have these terrible anxiety disorders, can't get out of their house, their world's closing in on them, they can go out and do shopping, they can get to the local corner shop, they can go to their allotment, socialise with people. You know, people who can't engage with therapy because it's too traumatic and too anxiety provoking can now get to therapy and get the real treatments that can solve underlying problems. So cannabis for me has been shown through my experience, even though there is limited academic evidence backing up these things, to be a wonderful medicine. And patients are telling me this, I am seeing it with my own eyes, and that is convincing enough for me, but it does need to be codified within structures that needs to guide the way and inspire the research that is to come. But you've got to start somewhere. You've got to start with these observations that help people to make those questions. Research is based on questions. You've got to get the best question you can to come up with the right answer. And so in the meantime, there is a role for clinics like ours to be providing good quality medicines, because patients are suffering and they will continue to suffer. Research costs millions, if not billions, and that would be for one indication and one heavily licensed indication. So it's restricted, and it doesn't seem to be like it's going to be on the NHS anytime soon. So we are presenting a compassionate way. We are being compassionate to people to say, yes, you can get this medicine through a route that is private medicine. It's not ideal, but we've got to start somewhere. At least this gives people a legality so that they can talk about it, so that it does become more of a political manoeuvring piece. Once everyone knows someone in the country who is benefiting from medical cannabis, it becomes a vote winner. And that's when the real change will happen. It can't happen in this model. There's not enough resources for people to be doing that. Our approach is we want to give the cannabis clinic experience which we would want for ourselves. So we want to do everything that we would want Sam to experience. That's our philosophy. Unfortunately, as I'm the prescriber, you can't prescribe for friends and family, so this is the one clinic she cannot actually be a member of. But that's our philosophy. We want that. We want to give respect to patients and their lived experience, and we want to be able to give people the choice that they need and want. We respect that you know what works for you. We're not going to dictate to you that you need to do your medicine in this way under our guidance because we know best. That's not what we're about, because no one knows best with this. You know, it's such a subjective thing. And so that's why we've set up this clinic. That's why we want to go forward with this. We want to support anyone who wants to set a pop-up vape lounge. And we just want this to be a more accepted and readily available medicine for all. And so that's why I feel we do this. It's for the patients, and the patients who have the stories that I listen to every day is humbling, and I'm really proud to be doing this sort of work. Thank you.